You look into their souls and like, you need me. You can trust me because I am the best mortgage loan officer ever born. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. Today we got Quinton Green from Southeast Mortgage with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. I wanted to just go over, loans, mortgages, that type of thing. It's definitely getting a lot of talk in the news right now, I guess, in particular because of the high interest rates. At least for some, I think it can make people kind of hopeless or just decide to wait things out. But that being said, what are you doing for your clients these days to help combat the high interest rates for people looking to buy a home?
Just with interest rates specifically, well, just in general, we're helping our clients all the way around, definitely working with professionals such as yourself, definitely realtor and the loan officer. We're coming together as a team to see how we can make home ownership attainable for our clients, but specifically combating the interest rates right now that we're currently at.
Yeah, right around like 8%.
Right. Yeah, it is hovering around that 8%. So it is creeping in a direction that we did not foresee for the last year or two. But however, we're here and people still need homes. So
yeah,
just working with interest rates. One good thing that we like to do is work with our realtor so that way we can see what all the seller is willing to provide as far as a seller concession or any seller credits. And what we do on our end is we see what we can transform that into to see how we can buy down the interest rate for that the borrower. So that either can be a temporary 2-1 where your interest rate can be reduced for 2 years, and then it'll increase a little bit on the first year, and then on the second year, and then the last year you'll be able to have that fixed interest rate. Or what I generally prefer is just a permanent buy down for the rate, just buying your interest rate down so that way you won't have to worry about the adjustment. Because if you can afford the payment at that time, then you wouldn't have no issue going forward. And there's always room for refinance when rates do lower.
Right. Here it's definitely a strategy that if you're, again, we're hoping like nobody has a crystal ball can see the exact future, but these things go up and down. If you find the house or the home that you really want, and then you're able to, again, like you said, buy down the loan just so you have a lower interest rate for the first couple of years. Down the road, once you're locked into the house, like you said, you can always refinance it and get a better rate, which is actually what a lot of people did the last couple of years when they were super crazy, stupid low, like 2 and 3%. I don't know if we'll go back to something like that, but regardless, is if you wait for the interest rates to go back down, then you have more people in the market again, more buyers, and that's going to push the prices back up. So, get in now, adjust the rate down the road.
Definitely. So if anyone is waiting or on the fence to purchase a home, you are actually pushing back your timeline to where you may not be able to purchase a home in the upcoming future. So the idea is definitely a term that we use is you want to date the rate, but you want to marry the house. So if you have the ability to purchase your perfect home that you like, something that you see your family in that can provide a roof over your head, you definitely want to make sure that you can secure it and lock it down. And you just date the rate. So exactly what you said.
Right.
So if you can make that payment now, later on down the line, so what you'll gain is equity of the home, and you'll have the opportunity to refinance as rates go down. Right. So definitely that's what we recommend going forward.
Right. Provided you find the right home. Again, it's definitely a tricky time right now. And just not a lot of on-market inventory, which we deal with on-market and off-market stuff for our clients. But it's definitely, if you can find the house you want, don't let the interest rate itself be the, know that you have options to consider to making that dream become a reality.
Right. Definitely this is the right time to make sure that you are working with an expert in the field, such as a realtor, definitely someone such as you, Rob. So you want to make sure exactly what he said. You find deals off the market, on the market, you want to make sure you work with a negotiator. So definitely trying to do this blindly, that's not something you want to do. Reach out to a trusted loan officer, a trusted realtor, so that way you'll have the process done correctly.
Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, when people do get started on the process, say, okay, I'm going to get my loan docs ready to go so that when I find the right realtor to work with, now we can go start the search to find the home. One thing that comes to mind is that it seems, if maybe more so if it's like your first time, that the sheer amount of like documents and paperwork, stuff that you need to know about the person in order to get the loan, it can at times seem rather invasive. Like, I've got I've got a good job.
Right.
I make plenty of income. Those type, why do you need to know so much? It can seem kind of invasive.
Right. I agree with you. The process itself can definitely be considered invasive. But if you break down the whole process of purchasing a home and obtaining a mortgage, you're asking to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if someone came up to you and asked you to borrow $10, that wouldn't be an issue. But if someone comes up to you and asks you to borrow $500,000, first you want to verify that they have the ability to pay you back, they have the willingness to want to pay you back, and you want to see what that they can put into what you're borrowing from them. So definitely through the process, just like anything, we're financing money here. So we are based upon rules and regulations that are set forth by higher powers than us.
That's the government, folks.
Definitely the government. And there are guidelines that we have to abide in order to issue any loans out. So definitely it can be an overwhelming thing when you think about the amount of paperwork, but it's all just based upon verifying who you are, what you say you are, and you have the ability to borrow this money and pay it back.
But still invasive.
Very invasive.
So how do you help your clients? You just ease the process. How do you walk them through it?
Definitely. Well, on the document standpoint, we tell you up front. So with my clients, I'm like, hey, we gonna have to verify everything from the front to the back. So we need literally your whole life is going to be packaged up together, and we provide that to the underwriter that ultimately gives you an approval for your loan. So basically, everything that we're asking for is going to be a necessity, and it's just based off of making sure that you're able to be approved.
Right. And with the underwriter, I guess another question that comes to mind is, I imagine you guys would send it to underwriting, fairly early in the process, which is key when you're working with someone to buy a home, you want to be able to come within as strong offer as possible. And where a lot of hiccups happen, actually, I think the statistic is like 1 in 4 homes that go under contract fall out because of like financing issues, is because you can put some basic info into kind of a formula to see, okay, this is probably what you're able to borrow based on these things. But if you don't have the full picture and you can't, or anybody else who is lending, send it to actual underwriting, it's only an educated guess at that point. So I guess the question is, how soon do you try to send it to actual underwriting when working with a client?
Right. So here at Southeast Mortgage, what we actually have the ability to do is underwrite you up front. So we can underwrite clients or individuals without even having a property, without having to have what their purchase or anything. So what that allows us to do is to see exactly what the underwriter may ask for, see exactly what is your effective income as far as borrowing, and see what you're qualified to purchase and your purchasing power within that. So that right there, having that equipped, that gives you a lot of power in this market in order to go forth and submit an offer on anything that you would like without having to second guess whether I'm going to get approved or not. So up front, I do like to have all of my borrowers' documents, issue them what is called a platinum pre-approval, and that's where the underwriter has reviewed it and has verified that that borrower is eligible for that property, and the only thing that we would need is appraisal and the title work. So that right there, that minimizes a lot of hiccups. And that allows you to close fairly quickly. And definitely, if you find your house, I know you want to be in your house as soon as possible. So that's our goal as far as for that.
And from the kind of the real estate agent side, if, say, for example, I'm listing the house for somebody and somebody else is coming with an offer to buy my client's house, if you don't have, I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell, but if you don't have, like, just having a pre-qualified, you want to actually have a pre-approval letter, not just pre-qualified, because that's just feeding a couple numbers into a formula, and it's an educated guess. But if it's incorrect, then all of a sudden your offer is not as appealing as somebody who is pre-approved, because when you're pre-approved, it's a sure thing. Yes, you can borrow this amount based on these factors, provided you don't go buy, a Cadillac or lose your job during the days of when you're trying to, buy this house type of thing. But it's unfortunate, but sometimes it works that way, that the agent that's receiving the offer, it makes it hard to present to their seller, just because, like, well, should we accept this offer or not? Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to close, which is terrible to say, but that's just kind of how it tends to work out.
Yeah, so definitely a pre-qualification is a waste of time. You do not want a pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is a waste of time for you, your realtor, and any realtor that has listed the property.
The entire world.
Yes. So what does that mean? Let's talk about the difference right quick. So the pre-qualification, basically, that is verbal information that you can provide your lender. Say, hey, I make this amount. My credit score is this. I have this saved. All right. I can say, cool. Well, I think you're pre-qualified for this amount. And so all of that is just based on estimates and whatever information you can verbally provide me. A pre-approval is where we go through, we verify all of what you said with documentations to ensure that it's correct. So your pre-approval has verified credit, verified income, and verified assets. You want a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification.
Yeah, a couple of large companies, I won't name by name, but that kind of comes to mind with the whole, pre-qualified stuff. Like, it's just like handing out candy.
Yes, legally they can throw out as many pre-qualifications if you want to, because it's not legally binding or anything. It's just say, hey, we think that you can buy this because you said this. Yeah. And that trips over a lot of people.
Paper is cheap. You can buy a whole bunch at the store for a lot cheaper.
Right.
So for people who are in that process of getting pre-approved, not pre-qualified, and they're maybe they don't have the best credit history, or maybe a fairly common scenario is you don't actually have that much of a credit history. Like, you're still a very responsible spender and everything, but you've never built your credit before because you haven't had a mortgage before or a car loan. Maybe you generally pay for stuff in cash, and like in the eyes of lender, there's no real history to gauge what you can and are able and willing to do. Right. How do you assist clients who are like have no credit or maybe bad credit to get them on that road in order to get that pre-approval down the line?
Right. So what I will say, if anyone has bad credit or no credit, don't be discouraged. Those scenarios happen way more often than you think. It happens a lot. So when I have clients that come to me with either scenario, what we do is we go through, we review their credit, and from there we have an actual program, a simulator that we can do to see exactly what your score would be based off a certain amount of action. So one thing I will say is credit is not a cookie cutter situation at all. And so that's something that you do have to analyze per person, per credit report. And that's one thing that we do. We go through, we see exactly what your credit is. We see what actions can help work with that. And if it's something that can be done in a few months or even a few weeks, we can make our best recommendation going forward. And
but
see exactly
it's all done in a simulator. It's not like a soft inquiry where it's going to show up that you.
So in the home buying process, you will have a hard credit review because the goal is to purchase a home. You're purchasing somewhere between anywhere from $200,000 to
a lot more.
Home. Right. So
a lot more.
Right. So the purpose is to make sure that you are qualified going forward. So yes, you can do a soft pull to see exactly where you are, but to analyze and see if there needs to be any adjustments to your score, I do recommend going ahead with that hard pull. So that way we can see exactly where to go. So if there is anything that needs to be done with your score, like you do have bad credit, and it's beyond anything that I could go through with the simulator within a few months, we refer them to a credit restoration company. So we work with a couple, mainly one or two, but definitely within that time they have helped. Plenty of our borrowers have went from having horrible credit to horrendous all the way to purchasing a home. So if it is something such as that nature, we would refer you out to a credit restoration company. Definitely you want to work with someone that you can trust. Don't just go out there and Google credit restoration because that's not going to be it at all. So from there, that's what we do. We recommend it from getting someone who can actually go through your credit and see exactly what needs to be done, because credit is not a cookie cutter thing. There are multiple attributes to credit, such as history, the type of credit, length, and all that good stuff. It is a lot. Credit is one beast within itself. But we're here to help. We're definitely here to help with any needs that you may have. So for scenario B, if someone doesn't have credit, I'll refer them to programs such as like opening a credit builder account. So having a secured credit card, or either like a secured personal loan where you borrow money basically from yourself, or even things such as like the Experian Boost, where if you add such as your utilities or even your phone bills, things that wouldn't show up on your credit report anyway, but they have a positive payment history. If you add those to your credit, that will help generate your score and boost your score if you need any positive things within those categories.
Right. Already showing what you've been doing is paying your bills on time, being responsible. How do people reach out to you, Quinn, in order to get help?
Definitely. If anyone is in need of assistance, feel free to reach out to me. I am available. Cell phone 706-424-8891. Feel free to email me. It is quinton.green@southeastmortgage.com. And website is southeastmortgage.com/Quinton Green. And I'm active on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, 2QuintMan, Q the Mortgage Man on TikTok. Feel free to comment or feel free to contact me through those forms of mediums, and we'll be able to assist.
Perfect. Thanks for coming out, Quinn.
Thank you.
Cheers.